North-South Connection. Welcome to the most extreme menage a trois of violence you'll ever experience here on the Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT, Jenny, and Matt. The Suzaconda taking you through the history of ECW. We started in February of 1994, and here we are on the precipice of February 2000. 6 years in and only about 10 months left or 11 months left in ECW history. But we'll be here for a while tracking all of it. There's a lot left to cover, and tonight we're going to cover 3 installments of ECW television. This podcast is simulcast audio on all podcast applications, except those clowns at Spotify, and on video on our YouTube channel by searching North-South Connection. And be sure to check out everything we have to offer, including all of our special content for NoSo 95, which is a trip through 1995 pop culture, sports, wrestling, and beyond, paying tribute to the great year that was. And of course, Jenny, we just had a recent podcast drop where you, myself, and Josh Richer rewatched Mallrats, one of the best movies of 1995. That was a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out if you're a fan of Kevin Smith 1995 or nonsense. And plenty of other content as well. We got PLEs, we got Saturday's main events and other stuff going on that we do previews for, as well as post shows. So a lot of cool content around that as well. Our YouTube has been blowing up with subs, which we appreciate. So be sure to keep helping us there too. So how you both doing?
Feeling extreme tonight. What about you, Maddie?
Always. I've never been more extreme, I don't think.
It does seem to be an increase in extremity for you.
Increase in extremity. That is what they say about me, yeah. Extremity. That's
the new word. For being extremish.
Extremish. Wow. Extremity and extremish, I see.
Extreme. All right. January 22nd, 2000, ECW Hardcore Television. We open with Joey Styles teasing all the ongoing issues in ECW that we'll explore tonight. So we get our opening animation. Back to Joey in the Nest, hypes up a big story on the website regarding a former ECW champion that will be returning to the company. To the ring we go as Mikey Whipwreck is here to take on Nova. Mikey saunters to the ring, greets his fans, disheveled as always. Joey compares him to Kramer, says he's got a kind of a Kramer look going on these days. Looks bewildered at all times, and his hair is kind of sticking up and muscles like must like Kramer.
What?
Like when you muss up your hair. Must. MUSSED. Nova's out to a nice pop. Joey notes that his last match in the ECW arena was a big win over Chris Candido, but he's had some bad luck since with a bunch of tag partners getting injured. Chris Chetty and now Kid Cash. We get some chain work. Joey helps with the footage of a big showdown between RVD, Awesome, and Sabu. After a flurry of counters, Mikey blocks a Novocaine. We reset with some trade-off. Mikey tries to kick a handshake, but Nova blocks it. Misses a kick, and Mikey hits a hard lariat. Mikey lays in some strikes. It's a side leg sweep for 2. Mikey dips over to the apron, slings him into the railing before meeting him with a pescado, lands crotched on the railing in a very awkward bump. Mikey's hurting as he shoves Nova back to the apron, dangles him on the middle rope, and follows with a guillotine elbow for 2. Mikey snaps off a backbreaker for a near fall, drops his head, and Nova clocks him, hits a deadlift powerbomb, and elbows Mikey in the nuts on the way down. Nova hits a clothesline in the corner, follows with a sidewalk slam for 2. Nova gets an atomic drop, a jawbreaker for 2, then brings Mikey to the top rope. After a struggle, Mikey turns it around into a super bulldog to 2 for a loud pop. Nova counters a slop drop into a spin doctor for near fall. Heads up top, misses a swanton bomb. Nova counters a pile driver, tries a kryptonite crunch, but Mikey slides down and tries a sunset flip. Nova drops to his knees and cradles for the win. Nova heads out as Mikey sits in the ring looking upset. He grabs the mic and says, "It's not right. It's a conspiracy. I'm only 24 years old. I live at home with my mom. You need to stop laughing at me." Joey said last week, Mikey said he was 26 and no one's laughing. And Mikey seems to be on the verge of a nervous breakdown. It's a pretty fun match. Gave both guys some time to shine. They had the crowd bopping along with them. I thought both guys looked crisp and worked through some good offense, not a lot of BS. Nova's been pretty sneaky hot lately. Mikey's lost in the cloud since his return, but feels like it actually has a direction this time based on the commentary and the promo that we're heading somewhere with Mikey, kind of snapping, finally having enough and giving in potentially to the voices in his head. So Jenny, we'll see where that goes. I went 3 stars. This is kind of a classic ECW arena opener between 2 guys that can work.
You went 3 stars. Imagine somebody going higher on a Mikey match than me, but I guess that's what we're going to do. But I'm gonna go on this ride. Okay, I've been asking for something to happen with him. I'm not sure losing to Nova is what I had in mind, But Nova is fun, and he looks good. They both looked good in this match. I thought it was fun until the end. But and then Mikey, that spot where he hits his leg on the railing, that looks like legit. And
Mhm.
I was just thinking, I hope that he stays healthy enough during this run to put something together and not get injured. And then he did that. So um, my boy's having a breakdown. I'm worried about him. What did you think, Maddie?
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it. It's a good match. I'm just glad we're doing something with Mikey here finally after he's been back for a while. Like the unhinged thing, even the little detail, kind of like what you mentioned of his hair being like muffed or whatever the hell you said before. Must that muscled must whatever. That was that was a nice touch too. So I like that, and I'm just glad they're doing something with him. So that's good. But yeah, the match itself was pretty fun. The top rope bulldog was a really sick move. That was good. But yeah, I mean, it's a standard, fairly standard match here. Fun stuff. Like you said, Nova's been really good. So he seems to be really coming into his own. So 2.5 for me on this.
We get clips from TNN of Danny Doring and Roadkill defeating Raven and Tommy Dreamer to earn a tag title match. We also saw Dusty Rhodes make his ECW arena debut to help Dreamer against Carino's crew, leading to Sandman getting involved and facing off with Rhino. Kind of playing off the match that did not happen at Guilty as Charged. Joey's in the Nest sets up our next match, which is a hardcore TV exclusive between New Jack and Angel. If you haven't had enough of New Jack and the Baldies, we roll on. The Baldies are in the ring for this grudge pay-per-view rematch inside the arena. Natural Born Killers fires up. New Jack's out with his plunder carriage. Joey says, to Jack's credit, he always shows up on his own to take on the whole crew. The Baldies all jump Jack as he gets to the ring. They swarm him, batter him in the corner. Angel lays in some hard punches. Grimes breaks out the pizza cutter, slices Jack up. Grimes and DeVito go to the floor as Angel's peppering Jack. Jack quickly fires back, breaks a sign over Angel's head, heats up with more weapon shots, including taking the cheese grater to his skull. DeVito threatens to come in, but he dips back out when Jack smashes Angel with a trash can. Jack hammers on Angel, bites at his sliced up skin. Grimes tosses the shopping cart in the ring as Jack smashes Angel in the dick with a vacuum cleaner. Grimes is in the ring, smashes Jack on the shopping cart, and then goes up top. Jack moves. Grimes bangs off the cart with a senton. Ouch. We got fucking hurt. Jack dumps Grimes to the floor, sits him in a chair, comes off the apron with a chair shot to the head. Jack and Grimes brawl through the crowd to the bleachers, where Grimes slings Jack off the top bleacher to the platform. Jack is bleeding pretty heavily now as Grimes hammers away, spikes Jack into a chair. Grimes hits Jack in a chair and heads to the Nest. For some reason, does a jerking off motion and then comes off with another senton. Jack moves and he crushes the chair. Like, fuck this guy. Like, he is like just destroying his body with these missed sentons. After a break, Jack is in the Nest. He flies off and puts Grimes through a table with an elbow. Kind of looks like he fucks up his knee in the process. Angel is finally back. He pours it on Jack as they fight to ringside. DeVito joins Angel in beating on Jack. Joey says Grimes is being squeegeed off the floor. In the ring, Angel slaps Jack around, but Jack flips him off, fires back, and smacks him with a pan. DeVito comes in. New Jack smacks him too, slams his broken hand off the turnbuckle and puts a staple into it. Angel then smashes Jack with a trash can and yet again picks up the win as his buddies ran just enough interference to buy him a window. A lot of blood, bruised bodies, and some nasty spots. And we'll see if New Jack can get some backup, Matt. I went 3 stars on this too. Like, you know me, I've been the first to criticize kind of the lazy, walk brawling, garbage BS. But this feud has actually, to me, been a better version of a lot of that. Like, it's been entertaining. If like the matches have had a little bit more purpose behind them, a little bit more story, and we'll see where Jack eventually goes. So, and then you mix in those bumps by Grimes that were nasty, the blood, the masturbatory taunting by Grimes, whatever works for you. I like this a lot, man. 3 stars. Whatever reason this feud hits for me.
I mean, I went 2.5 on it. It is still very fun. The thing that really stuck out to me in this, like a sore thumb, is just how much better Grimes is than Angel.
Yeah, for sure. Angel's the worst part of the group. I mean,
right.
I think that's why they made him the kingpin, because he can't talk and he can't really bump. So he's kind of like protected as being in that role. He doesn't have to do a lot. So I think it works actually.
Like, the parts where this was New Jack and Angel were very mid, but like the parts where this was New Jack and Grimes were fucking great, and Grimes just throwing himself off of fucking
why Elon Musk wanted to marry him now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Off of the Wow, that caught me off guard. Off the crow's nest and whatnot, but that's what Grimes was. Never mind. So 2.5 for me on this. And I thought the finish was kind of weak, too. After all that shit, a fucking trash can shot ends the match. So
Yeah.
that was a little weak, too. But yeah.
Also, there's no way that staple got through that cast.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, give me more New Jack versus Grimes. That's what I want to see more so.
And he needs a partner. I think we're to the point now where someone has to help this fucking guy. Like he's just getting murked every week by these dudes. Someone help him out.
So yeah, it's a fun match, but yeah, more Grimes, please. 2.5.
That was my thought for this match too. Now's the time for someone to help poor New Jack. How many times does he have to get beaten up like this?
I keep waiting for Mustafa to resurface, but I don't think it's happening.
I would love that, but no, I don't see that happening. Can we think of anyone?
Where's Cronus? He's gonna be around somewhere.
Yeah, really.
Spike is busy. He feels like he'd be the guy.
Spike was the one I was thinking, but he's preoccupied.
I don't know. Balls and Axel haven't really been around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. I love the spots here. Grimes is so fun to watch. Like Maddie said, like way better than Angel. Fuck that guy. And another bloody fuck fest. You know, these are really
literally.
Fun. Yeah, literally. Imagine doing that off the,
nest.
Off the nest and then miss the fucking senton.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was gonna say he was mimicking what's his face in The Hangover, but this is like 8 years before that came out.
Right.
Dr. Ken.
I did split the difference 2 3/4 on it.
All right. Joey plugs the hotline of the magazine and then gives a history of the Louis Dangerously gimmick. And out comes Big Louis with Erik Watts.
Fuck.
What?
Haven't had enough Erik Watts from our TNA Never Dies days. And I know, Matt, you live the Erik Watts life.
God.
Highway. Out he comes to booze. Joey says that will definitely cross the boss as he brings up Bill Watson. And he says, will he bring Bill Watson to start a race riot? He gives us some history that Watts fired Paulie Dangerously from WCW in January of 93, and Paul has not forgotten it. And there have been 18 management changes in WCW since, actually, just this week alone. But ECW has had only one man in charge since it started. Joey makes a Tecto team joke as we get a loud asshole chant. Joey says we can see some Paulie Dangerously shining through Paul Heyman tonight. Lou introduces Erik as a son of a legend. Joey starts shitting on Bill's lame rules in WCW. Lou mocks Paul and says if Bill didn't fire him, he would have never started ECW. So that makes Bill a great man, unlike a worthless piece of trash like Heyman. Joey says this isn't the best way to get a raise, a push, or a job. We see Paul stewing in the nest. He's laughing as Lou says Paul will never be half the man Bill Watts is, and that Bill was right. Paul is a rebellious, fat, bald Jew. Paul stomps around, gets held back as Lou wants to fight. Lou tells him, go back to Hebrew school before Erik comes up and kicks your ass, and then wants us to remind us of his name, but the fans won't let him. Paul comes in with something censored. We don't hear that. He shits on Watts and says he hates his whole fucking family. And tonight, on behalf of the ECW arena, he will personally ship his Oklahoma ass back to WCW. The crowds are losing it. Paul calls Lou sign guy and tells the guy, the sound guy, to hit Eric's opponent's music. And out comes Spike Dudley, of course, the highway to hell. Gets in the ring, dodges a Watts attack, hits an acid drop, and gets the win. So, usual Spike squash there. Watts is washed already. I don't know if he was meant to only get the one-night payoff and take a bullet, or if he was really going to stay around. I have no clue. And Joey makes a joke about Spike doing that to Jim Cornette next. So, quarter star, Jenny, for the match. And the segment was fine. It's just low card fodder with Lou's crew and Watts. Like, I don't think he's a guy that's probably going to stay around, is my guess.
God, I hope not.
What what caused this? Why are we doing this now? Like,
that's a great question.
What happened? Like, we know that Paul likes to be in storylines. Like, he sometimes I think he gets a little overzealous with that, including in the modern day product. But I didn't mind this. I just thought it felt weird, and I felt like there's probably some story behind it that I didn't know.
I think he just hates Bill Watts and probably paid his kid enough to come in and let him shit on him for a minute.
And just shit on him. Just for fun.
Well,
Like,
I mean, probably, but I also wouldn't put it past them. Like we saw with Paul Vollins and others, where
Yeah.
Paul might have said, "Oh, come in, we'll give you a push," or what? It's just sticker, and then he fucking buried him, and then he left. Like I don't know. Or again, Watts was like, "I don't really give a shit. You can shit on my dad. Give me $500, whatever the hell, $200, whatever it is, and I'll come eat shit for a night and
I
then
like
be
that.
gone." So I mean, it's fine for hardcore TV in the arena. Like I wouldn't put this on TNN or anywhere beyond that,
No. They're just lighting fires on both of their TV shows. Apparently, just random Watts hate for no reason, I guess, and then their difficulties with TNN on the other side. So just a lot of shit going on. I did like 0 stars because I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
you're
I'm
really
not going to
nothing.
rate this. What do you think, Matt?
I thought I blipped into another plane of existence when I saw fucking Erik Watts walk out on my screen in the ECW arena. Holy shit, man! I hope it's one and done because God, he's just the fucking worst.
I mean, is he the former ECW champion that returned, or is that coming? I wonder, because I don't think he was ever.
I don't think so.
Was he here at some point?
No.
I don't think so.
Maybe before, maybe like
No.
93 or something. He was around. I
Maybe
don't
like
know.
before Paulie took over or something, but
Maybe someone else is coming. Maybe that was a tease for a future.
but like why
Yeah,
are
I
we
don't think it was him.
why are we mentioning Bill Watts in the year 2000 in the ECW
Yeah.
arena? Like, holy shit. So, Spike winning was great. I went 5 stars on that, but I went minus 5 stars for Watts even showing up. So, split it down the middle and give it a 0. Holy shit, Erik Watts.
It says here he sticks around for 2 months. I don't know if we'll see much of him,
Oh,
but
God.
so I guess they were bringing him in, and maybe they said, "I'm gonna." I mean, Louis' whole thing is taunting Paul anyway. So it makes sense to bring a guy in to really stick it to Heyman, right? Like this has been his whole gimmick. So maybe that's why they did it too. Figure,
Turns out his thing was also taunting future Matt 25 years later.
There you go. All right, we then get the awesome Sabu Van Dam segment from TNN, which we covered last episode, which is amazing. All right, best match, New Jack Angel. Worst match, Spike Watts.
Yep.
Yeah.
We good with that? Okay.
Yep.
There's not a lot of moments. I went with Paul and Lou jabbing. I don't know. Wasn't anything else really going on.
I went with Grimes killing himself multiple times with his various dives.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the one off the nest that he missed.
Mm.
All right, most 2000. I went with Erik Watts coming in just to get buried.
Yep.
And also a move called the Spin Doctor, which is very,
That might be 90s.
but lingering.
Yeah. That was the Cranberries.
Stock Rising, Mikey Whipwreck, Nova, the Baldies, Heyman.
Fuck.
No zombies.
Matt.
Wow. First time I made the list. Shit.
Stock falling, the Watts boys, and Grimes' body is falling apart.
And Matt.
Wow. All right. Back at 0. Perfect.
Even Steven. I was 6 out of 10. This is fine. Like I liked the 2 matches. The segment was whatever. And you can't discount that they showed the awesome Sabu RVD stuff either at the end, which is cool. If you didn't see TNN.
So you're like at a 5 or what?
6 out of 10.
6? I'll do 5.5.
Yeah, I went 5.5. I can't go higher with Erik Watts being on the damn show.
All right, let's move ahead to the Friday after the show. On January 28, 2000, episode of ECW on TNN. Francine is backstage, finds Raven slumped over in a locker room, and tells him we have a match. Get up, Scotty. Raven is solemn and asks why. She says they have to wrestle Carino and Rhino. Tries to pull him up. Raven says, I don't want to wrestle them. They don't even have the belts. I always do everything for everyone else. I saved Tommy over and over, and I get no thanks. But the pay-per-view, he lost the titles when he took a cane shot to protect Francine. And he doesn't regret it, but he never got thanked. Francine says she did thank him. But Raven says Tommy didn't. And without the belts, my dad's right. I'm a worthless, nothing loser. Francine says Dad wasn't right. Tommy comes in and asks Raven if he thought he couldn't hear him. Francine tells Tommy to leave him alone and demands he gets up to go to work for their match. Francine sighs. Tommy says Raven always has a problem. We just have to go out and wrestle. Francine says, leave him alone. Raven refuses, but Tommy just keeps saying, get up, Scotty. We have to wrestle. Francine pushes Tommy out of the locker room, and Scotty stays sitting on the floor. And I'm still kind of torn on this. Like, I still don't know, is Raven playing the sympathy mind games to get Francine more bought in to screw with Tommy? Or is he really just being emo at this moment? That daddy issues are creeping in. Tommy's being a dick. He's been doing the right thing, and he's still not getting appreciated. I don't know which way they're going, which I think makes it good because it could go either way right now, Jenny.
What? I feel the same way. I tend to not believe him. And that it's a work
because he's definitely put himself in that position with the years of being an asshole. So
Tommy knows. He's like, get the fuck up. Stop being like this. We got to go to work. You're just being emo and you're just trying to manipulate everyone, especially Francine. This looked like a scene between me and my 15-year-old son.
Get up, Scotty.
Yeah. Get up. We have to go. So yeah, it was pretty triggering for me, Matt.
So, like you said, you're not sure where they're going with this. Part of me is starting to wonder if they're not sure where they're going with this yet, because this whole thing is moving at a glacial pace. This fucking storyline. Holy shit! This is like the third time we've seen something similar to this, and it's like they're still like halfway decent segments, but it's like we gotta get to the next step here, which has kind of been the theme of the whole fucking storyline with Dreamer and Raven since Raven came back. It's just like, all right, we get it. Like we need the next thing to happen. So I do wonder if that's why it is so slow, because they're kind of not sure where they're going with this yet.
I don't know. I feel like with Raven, he probably has some plan. I think it might be more likely that they staked a peg in the ground for a pay-per-view match, and that's what they're marching toward at some point. Whether it's Living Dangerously or even after that, I have no idea. But that might be more it. Like they're like, okay, we want to get to this.
And Tommy's injuries probably
that too probably isn't helping.
Yeah, right. But it is a good segment, but it's like, man, we need to find some more besides this whole thing.
All right. Joey Styles and Joel Gertner in the ring. They welcome us to the Ilario in NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana. No longer the home to WrestleMania. The crowd is heated up. Joel says, Cyrus is not here. He didn't make it. He's a wussy. And is about to work in a joke about eating pussy, of course. But before he can get the words out, we cut to inside the production truck where Cyrus makes the director cut away and says, why are you shooting this? You're going to get heat with the network. Do you want to be back shooting Lane 4 on Rock and Bowl? Why are we even paying you? Cyrus says he has 5 wrestlers in the back demanding releases, and that will walk if Gertner remains color commentator on TNN. No one wants to work with the devil. We all have better things to do than watch a portly announcer get over at the expense of the talent. There was an awesome confrontation. We'd rather watch that. And he demands Ron, the director, flip over to that, and we do get highlights following. So, Matt, what do you think of this week's installment of Cyrus versus Gertner, which was a little bit tighter than past ones?
Yeah,
and also the word portly is a insult.
Yeah, I love it.
I like the backhanded jabs to TNN. They're always very funny, but boy, you got to tread lightly with that, because you may not want to piss off the
Rock and Roll,
the TV company that's footing the bill for a lot of your shit. Maybe don't piss them off, but it is very, very entertaining. Just Lane 4 of Rock and Roll, you're gonna be back there. That's a fucking great line.
It's such a weird Lane 4. It's such a fucking specific douche.
A month ago, I had no idea what Rock and Roll was, and now I've heard it twice.
Something tells me you're gonna hear about it every week for a while.
Oh, shit.
Was that really the inside of the production truck?
Yeah, probably.
I would think so. Yeah.
Like legit. Okay. I get curious about stuff like that because I like the little behind the scenes of what they're actually doing. It's pretty cool. Yeah, this worked, I think, for them not being together in the ring like they have been. And it's another layer, right? We've added another location. We have a running joke with the rock and bullshit. So they're building this stuff up, and they're doing a good job. I think this works. Another good one.
Now the portly Joel Gertner segment.
Portly.
We get our opening animation. We go backstage to hear from Judge Jeff Jones and Mike Awesome. The judge says he wants to clear RVD off his docket, but Awesome says forget about RVD. He issues threats to Spike Dudley and says he's focused on kicking his ass and defending his title. Spike earned respect on the pay-per-view, but Awesome showed him how fucking tough he can be too. And if Spike wants to challenge again, he can bring his ass out and it'll get kicked around the arena. Any thoughts on that?
Awesome said ass about 76 times during this promo. So that was very entertaining.
I feel like that's his go-to phrase, kick your ass. Like, it happens in a lot of his promos. And he's not a bad promo, just not a very...
Right. There's a reason why he has a manager that talks for him most of the time.
Yes. He delivers the heat, but just not good at the words part.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, to the ring we go. Is Tajiri is here to take on Little Guido. And of course, as Little Guido rides Sally Graziano to the ring, that can only mean one thing for us. It is time for the Italian lesson of the week. And I'll be surprised. I will be honest, I was surprised as I searched our past Italian lessons that this one had yet to been used, and I was excited about it. Today's lesson is about the word gabagool.
Wow.
Gabagool.
Gabagool.
Have you each had gabagool in the past?
I had a French fries version of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I have, I don't remember.
Okay.
So probably.
Yeah,
not.
I looked back, Jenny. I don't see gabagool on the list. So
that's weird.
If we did use it, I apologize. I think I've tracked them all. So. Gabagool is a processed meat. According to Joe Stracci, a part-time salami slinger, gabagool is another name for capicola, an Italian cured meat that combines the Italian words for head, capo, and neck, collo. Capicola is made from using a prime cut of pork from the neck and shoulder. The recipes for gabagool vary, but the general process involves seasoning the meat and curing it for up to 6 months. Most of the time, gabagool is not spicy, though that depends on the seasoning ingredients that are used. Because it isn't aged for a very long time, it has a tender texture. Some people compare gabagool to prosciutto, but prosciutto is made from pork leg and aged longer, giving it a different flavor and texture. According to one story, the word capicola turned into gabagool due to linguistics. As usual, the author notes of this article, 80% of Italian Americans descended from southern Italy, including yours truly. There were a number of different dialects. As time and generations went on, people tried to understand each other. There's a mangling of language, which happens quite a bit with Italian. Final syllables are often deleted. Consonants are swapped. This is how mozzarella became mozzarella, ricotta becomes ricotta, and prosciutto becomes prosciutto. Sachi explains this. I do know the history of Italian words. Having the ending vowel chopped off in pronunciation is a mixture of two things: regional dialects and Italians immigrating to New York to make their foreign words easier to understand and say. They shorten them out of convenience. Madon! There you go. The history of...
That's very good.
Gabagool, which of course, I'd say really good. It's pop culture popularity through The Sopranos. So we'll talk about it. But I've had gabagool. I'm not a big fan. Like, I'm just not a big deli meat guy. My dad always had... capicola, definitely in the house. I like prosciutto and pepperoni. I stick to those. My dad used to always eat olive loaf a lot, which I found fucking disgusting. I don't know if you guys ever had that.
No.
Have you seen it? Like, you know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah. Like the bologna with like the fucking olives or whatever. Like, all stuff like that. He used to eat that a lot. But yeah, I'm not like a big... The fries are okay, but like I'm not a huge gabagool fan.
You old salami slinger, you.
That's a really
Joe
good
Stracci.
name.
You might have to do him next time. All right, here we go. Tajiri follows out after Guido rides Sal. After a break, we're underway with some chain work around the arm as Joel brings up last week's awesome Mexican death match. Guido heats up with a spear. We take a break. We come back. Tajiri's on the top rope. Rides Guido to the mat with his knee. Guido bails outside and regroups with Sal, but Tajiri meets him with an acai to a pop. Guido gets back on the apron. Tajiri meets him with a punch. Guido floats in the ring. Tajiri twists him into the tarantula. Tajiri lays in some kicks to the head. Mocks Guido, tries a brainbuster. Guido counters that to a Fujiwara. Tajiri gets a rope break. Guido keeps working the arm. Tajiri kicks low to counter the Maritado, but Guido reverses a full Nelson back to the Fujiwara. Guido stomps away. Tajiri pops back into a handspring elbow and a low drop kick to the leg and then to the face. Guido blocks a Rana by spiking Tajiri to the mat and then heads up top for a guillotine leg drop for 2. Joey says that Saints tight end Josh Wilcox has volunteered tonight to team with Tommy Dreamer in Raven's place. Guido gets trapped in the trio. Whoa! And Tajiri drills him with a baseball slide. Sal is on the apron with a chair. Tajiri beckons him to come in the ring and then drop kicks him out. Guido comes chopping back. They trade hard slaps and kicks, and Tajiri finishes him off with the brainbuster. Kind of an abridged version of the greatest hits. Still works well, though. A lot of hard strikes, fun crowd interaction, and a good clean finish for Tajiri, who picks up the win. He's up and down, but he's bulletproof, so it doesn't matter. So, Matt, I went 2 3/4. It's kind of just, give us 5 more, and maybe this goes up over 3, but as it was kind of the best of.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Was their greatest hits.
Nail on the head, son.
I went 2.5 on it. Definite 180 from what we last saw Tajiri doing. Holy shit. But still very good nonetheless, which is, par for the course with these two guys. But yeah, way, way too short and below what we're used to seeing out of this crew. So, I mean, it's still good. It's still perfectly watchable, but there's certainly better matches between these two guys out there. So 2.5 for me, Jenny.
You guys said it. I had the exact same thoughts. It's fun. It just is. Not a lot of Sal involvement, so I could have used a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
He always adds a lot to these matches. I love the finish, and I just continue to love Tajiri. I did 2 3/4.
All right, RVD is backstage with Fonzie. He says he appreciates all Sabu did to train him, but the student has now surpassed the teacher. Sabu understands it, even if he pretends he doesn't. He asked if it bothers Sabu that he was destined for great things, and he let Sabu take the credit for training him, as he could have been carrying Van Damme's bags or even holding the belt he could never win. So because Sabu can't beat him, he teams with Mike Awesome to hurt RVD, bring him down, but it's not going to happen. Sabu doesn't have Fonzie anymore to explain it to him. RVD beat Sabu's ass at the pay-per-view. He'll do it again. And Awesome may be a big motherfucker and impressive and a hell of a champion, but the champion for now. Because RVD's been TV champion for 2 years, the best wrestler in the business, and that means Awesome is not as good as him. And Awesome knows it. That's why the fans chant for RVD, because everyone knows he's the best and the whole fucking show. Awesome Sabu can listen and understand just why the fans call him that. Jenny, any thoughts on this promo from RVD? A very locked in, fired up RVD.
Oh, hell yeah. Spitting straight facts. He's so matter of fact. He's looking right at the camera. He is not stuttering. He knows exactly what he wants to say. He's just the whole fucking show. He is. This is just amazing. Like it continues to be amazing stuff from RVD. I feel like maybe he might be rattled a bit by what happened to him being put through the table, but no, did not seem to bother him whatsoever. All the confidence, and this is the RVD that you want to see and you want in this match with Sabu.
Yeah, he's totally locked in. I love the line where he says he appreciated Sabu for teaching him, but it bugs him that it bugs Sabu that the student passed the master. Great fucking line. So yeah, he's locked in. He's ready for the spot. I mean, he's been ready for the spot, but like he's showing clearly that he deserves this spot, and he's I also loved him saying that he's going to continue to kick Sabu's ass as long as he's around. That was great too. So feels like we're not done with RVD Sabu just yet, nor should we be, given what happened a couple weeks ago. But I like that they're still doing the RVD Sabu thing, even though RVD is going after Mike Awesome, so that's good.
Yeah, at least has a twist on it with Awesome involved and different, instead of just the two of them, with backhanded, passive aggressiveness toward each other.
Because I feel like RVD and Sabu have been locked in with each other really since RVD showed up. That you can't just quit it cold turkey. Like they're always going to be tied together at some point. So it makes sense to me. But yeah, this is great stuff from RVD and Fonzie.
All right, back to the ring we go with Steve Corino and Rhino are set to take on Tommy Dreamer and Josh Wilcox.
God.
Not to be confused with Charlie Wilcox from Suburban Commando. When we come back from the RVD promo, Wilcox and Corino were lining up in 3-point stances. Like, you could tell this.
Oh, my God.
This episode's like hacked together. Like, we didn't even get entrances. Like, we just kind of throw this one together here from the Ilario. Jack Victory's on the apron. He throws a penalty flag. He says Wilcox is offsides. Joel says, yeah, the Saints were offsides and false starting all season. We reset. Carino tags Rhino. Him and Wilcox go nose-to-nose. They shove each other. They line up. Rhino charges. Wilcox drops down and tags Tommy, who comes in firing, kicks Rhino in the nuts, whips him to the floor. Tommy follows and shoots him to the railing, chokes him with the flag, heads back inside. Joel makes another rock and bowl joke. Rhino eats a boot on a charge, comes back with a gore for 2, tags Carino. He stomps away. We get more Saints jokes. And Joey says, Mike Ditka was looking for work earlier. Rhino blind tags, has a spine buster for 2, stomps away, buries the shoulder in the corner for 2. Carino's back in, kicks away, but Tommy slugs him in the gut. Tags Rhino, punches Tommy in the tummy, hits a suplex for 2. Rhino heads up top and misses a splash. Tommy hits a gore, pulls himself to tag Wilcox in the stupid zip line that I'm really tired of already. Do it every fucking match now. Enough. He tags Wilcox. Carino comes in. Wilcox has a chair. He smashes Tommy with it to booze. Rhino pulls Tommy for the win. Victory pays Wilcox, but Francine is in, jumps on his back. Rhino pulls Francine off and carries her away. Victory stomps on Tommy as Carino gets the mic and hypes up Wilcox and says, real men hug. Wilcox says for 2 years, fans have booed the Saints for sucking, but the fans are the ones who suck. He takes pride in his job while these unemployed bastards sit home and drink beer. And they can kiss his ass. Carino says New Orleans knows that Carino is the savior of ECW. Ricky Williams ain't the savior of the Saints. Josh Wilcox is. Carino calls out Dusty Rhodes, and out comes the Dream. He beats up Wilcox in victory. The mule kicks Carino and takes him out as well. Dusty drops the elbow on Wilcox and gets some chance. So Carino gets one over on Tommy. There's no Raven in sight. Weird turn for Wilcox in his hometown. Whatever. Carino works his magic to make it make sense, I guess. Not much of a match. It was all about the post-match and escalation between Dusty and Carino, which did get a pop. Wilcox actually was fine on the mic too. Like, he seems like he's got some chops at least to kind of do this kind of stuff. Tommy's struggling, gets no help here. Not Charlie Wilcox and not Terry Wilcox from one of the early episodes of season 1 Coach, who turned out to be a gay football player, and Craig T. Nelson.
It's a timely reference.
Sure
Fox could not believe it. Terry Wilcox is not gay, and then they'll work it out in the end, and they're all fine. But early '90s sitcom stuff, 2 stars for me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was okay. I don't like these fucking football players coming in here turning on these ECW legends. Who the fuck do they think they are? It was kind of weak.
I was frozen today.
The Carino stuff, he's good, and it all makes sense story wise. You got to get Dusty out there, so that was okay. But I don't know. I wasn't super on board with this stuff. I did a 1.5 stars. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I went a gentleman's 2 on it. I will say Jack Victory throwing the penalty flag did pop me. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was all right.
But like outside of that, like I thought the finish was aggressively stupid to do this like hyper local angle with a third-rate player on the Saints turning on Tommy Dreamer, like just super weird to do that on your national TV show. So like I don't know, just and then they give him fucking promo time and then Dusty Rhodes drops an elbow on him. So just super weird to waste Josh Wilcox on all this shit. Like I don't know, just very, very, and it's a weird way to continue this whole Dusty Carino thing. So I don't know, just a very, very weird match. So Dusty was the best part of it because Dusty's the best part of most things. But yeah, I went gentleman's 2 on this.
Yeah, not much cooking. We'll see if Wilcox does anything else. But
more like Wilcox.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit.
Not much going on there. Carino is awesome though. I've generally been okay with kind of the gaps between these pay-per-views and ECW. It feels like this one, for whatever reason, some of the matches that they didn't do it Guilty as Charged, that they may be staking in the ground for Living Dangerously, have just been going for a while. So it really feels like they're having to fill a shitload of time to get to these blow-offs. They've really dragged some of these out. And I'm guessing the extra TV is adding to that vibe. We're not used to having that much television either. So instead of just having like 8 hours of TV in between pay-per-views, we now have 16, which is a lot, right? And they don't feature everything on every episode, but it just feels like it's more to fill than it was before. All right. Wilcox back to the shed. Mike Awesome is here to take on Spike Dudley in our main event. Awesome stomps out with the judge. Spike attacks him on the apron before the bell knocks him to the floor. Spike goes up top, meets the champion with a dive. Awesome swats him back with the belt to stop the flurry. Awesome slugs away, but Spike throws a chair at him. The scrapes and claws and chucks a beer in his face. Awesome recovers, shoots Spike hard to the railing and hot shots him on it. Back inside, Awesome hammers on Spike, catches a shoulder block on a charge. Spike follows with a seated senton off the top for one. Awesome rallies with a hard lariat. Flips Spike over the released German for a near fall. Spike counters an Awesome bomb with a Rana, but he walks right into a Mike Awesome tree slam for two. Awesome heads out, grabs the table, sets it up on the floor with an assist from the judge. Awesome heads to the apron. He hoists Spike up for an Awesome bomb. Spike slips free, scales the top rope, and drives Awesome to the table with a bulldog. Spike goes up with a chair, comes across Awesome's head. The crowd is rabid. Back inside, Spike swats Awesome with the chair. Rabbit punches him and tries the acid drop, but Awesome blocks. Spike ducks a lariat, throws a chair in Awesome's face for two. Spike goes up, it's another big chair shot for a close near fall. He charges with the chair, but runs into a boot, and Awesome cuts him down with a clothesline and follows with a huge release Awesome bomb. Awesome goes up and nails a fantastic big splash for two and a great near fall. Awesome drags another table in the ring, leans it in the corner, stomps Spike, drags him across the ring, and puts him through that table with a running Awesome bomb for the win. Awesome power bombs the ref, celebrates with Jones, grabs the mic and challenges RVD. And of course, right on cue, RVD heads to the ring. I want to talk about the audio in a second on this too. We will in a second. Sabu attacks RVD from behind. They brawl in the aisle until Awesome comes flying out of the ring with a suicide dive. RVD sidesteps. He barrels into Sabu. RVD goes up top and smashes both guys with a somersault plancha as we fade out. That's another great war with these dudes. Unexpected classic feud that has elevated Spike and made Awesome a wonderful mix of vulnerable and lethal at the same time. Great vibe in the arena for these awesome wars too. We'll see where things go with RVD and Sabu. Spike maybe is on ice. We'll see. The post-match, fantastic. The three-way feud is boiling hot. One of the best things I think we've seen in a while in ECW. So Jenny went 3.5. I think these guys have really figured out the baseline for what they can do, and they deliver consistently. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the sound.
I ended up loving this too. Kind of a mini version of what they did at Guilty as Charged, but not quite as many as what Tajiri and Guido did, if that makes sense. That bulldog through the table I thought was great for Spike. The Awesome bomb, I thought Spike's fucking head was going to come off after that. Spike is like low key very good at, or maybe high key at this point, kickouts. I love the kickouts. This one, he kicks
because every move feels like it could kill him at any time.
I know.
Really?
But then he survives.
He kicks out after the splash, and I was like, "Fuck," you know. So I think Mike is making Spike look amazing even more in this series, and I already love Spike, so. I kind of loved this too. I did 3.5. And then the post match stuff was just more greatness in this feud. Maddie?
Yeah, I actually went 3 3/4 on this. Like, just an unreal match. Like, not as good as the pay-per-view, but like the chemistry these guys have is just fucking incredible. How Awesome can just throw Spike around the ring, and Spike is such like a natural underdog just because of his size, you know, and just the moves he's able to hit, like you said, you guys were saying, the bulldog through the table, and God, that fucking finish was just disgusting. Like, maybe just as brutal as the finish from the pay-per-view. Like, it's close. Like, to your point, I thought Spike broke his fucking neck after he did that. Just fucking brutal. So, even if this feud is kind of on ice and dead, like, I don't think there's any reason why you can't run it out there again on like a random episode of Hardcore TV or whatever. What the hell? Like, if the matches continue to be this good between these two guys,
it's like Awesome and Tanaka. It's like they just have their baseline. It works.
Yeah.
So whatever. So the sound of this whole episode is very weird. Like,
all
the music is muted, and I don't know if it's like an issue with the original tape or if it's the WWE edited and forgot to put in the dubs, which I think is probably what happened.
I think so too.
Because there's no entrance music the whole episode. It's like zero. Like RVD comes out to silence, And it sounds like they muted it and then forgot to layer in the track.
Yeah.
Our buddy Rocco was going to pull his old tapes because he's got the originals of these and listen and see. So he's going to report back on that. But I am curious if that's all it is. It sounds like it the way they mute it. I don't know why suddenly they'd mute the songs on the ECW feed. So it's got to be a scenario where they Jody edited it and forgot to put the fakes in.
I mean, there was parts of it where Joey literally sounded like he was in like another room, like 200 feet away.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
Especially during the end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when RVD comes out and there's like just no sound, I was like, okay, something's up.
Yeah.
All right. Best match, easily Awesome Spike.
Yes.
And worst match, I'm with the Wilcox fiasco.
Yep.
Best moment to me was the end there, the RVD Sabu Awesome Brawl again.
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
Most 2000, this backstage drama and asking for releases that Cyrus mentions. That's a spoof on WCW, which right at this time was when the Radicals all walked out and Bischoff said anyone could have their release, or Russo, whoever it was, said anyone could have their release that wants it. Or it wasn't Russo was gone, right? It was Sullivan, whoever the fuck it was, said you can have the release if you want. And they all walked out. So that was like right. It might have been like right on around this day.
Yeah.
That they showed up on WWF TV. So that was a reference to that. So obviously very 2000s there. Stock rising. I went Raven to Jerry, Rhodes, Awesome, Spike, RVD, everything. Falling, Ron, the director, had a tough night. Tommy with a stupid marine crawl that he does.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Takes a beating in the show.
Why? What's your beef with that?
I hate when like non-organic things get repeated in every match. Like he goes out of his way to suddenly start doing the zip line every fucking match. I feel the same way. I haven't watched a lot of current day Moxley, but like when Ambrose used to always do the second rope rebound, like it just felt forced. And even the 619, I feel like that now and then. But I feel like Ray at least sets him up. Another one's like Cena's stupid top rope leg drop he used to do, where the guy would stay bent over randomly in the middle of the ring. So it's like stuff to me that really takes you out. That's like completely manufactured. So this just feels like we don't need it every match. Like maybe every few use it, but like every match you're in, suddenly you're, zip lining across the bottom rope. No one else does it.
Listen, he has herniated discs in his back. He needs it to
do it different every time. Maybe one time it's the bottom rope, he's pulling himself. One is the top, he's walking. Like
ropes are ropes. It's the same thing
every time. Like I wish someone would punch him in the fucking head. I wish Grimes would come blow a load on his face.
Wow. My goodness.
All right. 7 out of 10 for me. Falling, Ron, Dreamer, and the sound editing. I did like the episode. They're pretty hot on TNN right now.
Yeah.
I'm a 7 as well.
Yeah, I also went 7 on it.
All right. Hardcore TV, January 29th, 2000. Joey Styles on the Nest in New Orleans. Quickly tosses a clips of last week's chaos with Awesome Spike, RVD, and Sabu. We get our opening animation. Joey in the Nest implores viewers to tell their friends, tune in to ECW. To the ring we go. Super Crazy is here to take on the debuting Ricky Banderas. Banderas is out for his ECW debut. We're at the Ilario still. Crazy comes in. Joey gets his material in. He's talking Antonio Banderas, Melanie Griffith, Mean Gene. I don't know, he's getting all fucking kind of tangents in there. We get our intros. We get rolling. Crazy quickly takes Ricky down, works the leg. We reset with a test of strength that transitions to a Fujiwara from Ricky. Comes up with a boot, pushes and gets some punches and a flying forearm, spin heel kick. Crazy goes to the floor. Ricky follows with a corkscrew plancha, shoots Crazy back inside, comes off the top of the clothesline to the back of the head for 2. Crazy counters with a Rana with a powerbomb. It's a quebrada for 2. Crazy hammers away in the corner, gets a near fall, follows a hard clothesline. Ricky comes back with a tornado DDT for 2, shoots Crazy outside, follows him and whips him to the railing. Back inside, Ricky drops an elbow for 2, gets a tilt-a-whirl slam. Crazy dodges a charge in the corner, gets a roll-up for 2, hits a clothesline, powerbomb, and quebrada for the win. I thought this was pretty solid. I thought Banderas got some shine, but it was very basic. You could tell he was hesitant in everything he did. Like it was got a halting way of working, like Frank Costanza is talking. Crazy was throttled down a bit here. He let Ricky control to show off a little before quickly getting the win. So not a lot. I think Banderas has some potential, but he needs some confidence and experience. Like he definitely looked a little green. So Matt went 2 1/4. It was a fine little match.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I went 2.25 on this too. You could definitely tell that Crazy was holding back in an effort to make Ricky Banderas look halfway decent and not look like a schlub in the ring against a guy in Super Crazy who is, incredible. So you could definitely tell he was holding back. But even still, like, it wasn't awful by any stretch. But it was kind of like a weird clash of styles too, because Banderas is like a lot, not a lot, but he's bigger than Crazy by a pretty decent amount. So just kind of a weird match at points too, but it was still decent. And I think, Crazy at this point is good enough where he could fucking wrestle anybody and have a solid match with him. So it's a weird match, but it was, I guess, a pretty good enhancement for Crazy. And Bandera's got a little bit of shine too. So 2.25 for me on this, Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, y'all said it all basically. Like, not much competition here for Crazy, but he just kind of goes on quarter speed and is like, okay, let's Ricky get his shit in. Ricky is pretty jacked though, so he looks good. He's got that going for him. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. Not much cooking for me, but I still like to see Crazy win, so I did 2 stars.
Yeah, if Ricky sticks around, I think he could be, if they let him get some reps in, he could be decent in the mid card here. Oh, we get clips from TNN of the whole Raymer, that's their couple name, Raven and Dreamers, whole thing. The Carino gang, Dusty, just everything.
Is it Reamer or Draven?
I think Draven was
he was the crow guy, right?
I think he was an E-Fed guy back in the day. I meant Draven. Jenny missed the E-Fed days. Those are
I know. When y'all told me what that was, I was like, damn, I can't
that was
believe
a time.
Yeah.
I think I had Arn Anderson banging Alicia Cuthbert at one of them. It was all over the place.
Wow.
We got clips from TNN of the whole Raven Dreamer stuff. Like I said, we go backstage. Carino is with Jack Victory, Rhino, and Charlie Wilcox. Carino says Tommy can't count on his fans. Raven, his girlfriend Francine, and definitely not Dusty Rhodes. Tommy can just count on the fact that every day of his life, Carino is going to screw with him. Carino mocks Tommy for trusting Wilcox and says he couldn't even count on him. Wilcox says he'll be part of any team, whether it's the Saints or Carino's crew, as long as he sees the money. So again, not a ton going on there.
Yeah, it's good that he watched Jerry Maguire before he cut that promo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he must have just rented it. Maybe it's 2 years out. So
yeah, a little bit.
I think it was 98, right?
Something like that. Might even be earlier than that.
Yeah, you're right. Probably it's probably on discount now at Blockbuster. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I feel like it took movies longer to get to tape back then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely did.
Yeah, it definitely did.
God, 96, Jerry Maguire.
Was it
I
that
was
early?
going to say it was 96.
Shit. Maybe he had just moved to like TNT or something and he had just seen it.
Yeah.
Joey's in the nasty. He says, the last time we're in New Orleans, Rhino got into a brawl with Wilcox and Kyle Turley, but now Wilcox took the payoff from Carino on the weekend that his dad is getting voted to the Football Hall of Fame, whatever. ECW wants to get the rub and exposure, and it looks like Wilcox quit the Saints on TV, which isn't the best coverage to get, and they hate on Carino getting the rub. This is like way too...
How did Wilcox get this much fucking TV time? Like, does he have pictures of Heyman in a compromising position?
I don't know where that came from. Like, I thought he was defending the Saints, saying that fans booed them for sucking.
Does he know where Heyman buried the bodies or something? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
It was really odd. I don't know. Joey hypes the website and magazine. To the ring we go for this match that we get like once every quarter. And then it's Simon Diamond taking on Jazz. Diamond and Mitch are in the ring. Return, Mitch does his intro. Jazz flies into the ring, wipes out Mitch. Joey says this is a Bourbon Street fight. Jazz chops away at Diamond. Joey reminds us that the last time Jazz was in her hometown, she beat Jason, but lost to Simon in his hometown of Virginia. Simon bails outside to regroup with Mitch, Midlothian, Virginia. But Jazz drills him with a baseball slide. Jazz follows out, kicks and chops away, shoots him to the railing. Joey says the ECW locker room in the French Quarter is a bail bondsman's dream. Back inside, Jazz shoots Diamond to the corner, blocks a monkey flip, shoves her hard to the mat. Simon stomps away and slams Jazz, gets 2 on a leg drop. We get a crack whore chant. Simon lands a hard clothesline and hits a sit-out powerbomb for 2 to block a Jazz stinger. After a quick flare of counters, Jazz hits a float over DDT, but Mitch makes a save. Jazz kicks Mitch in the dick and hits the Jazz stinger, but Simon grabs him from behind and finishes with the Simonizer. Simple shit here for this never-ending feud. Simon stays a step ahead of Jazz thanks to Big Mitch. Big Dick Mitch for you Righteous Gemstones fans, maybe. 1.5 Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, I typically enjoy these matches. I like Jazz. She looks amazing. Um, I hated the finish because she shouldn't be losing to this guy. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'm good with it. Star 3/4, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I went 1.5 stars. This was a whole lot of whatever. I mean, I think Jazz, like to your point, should have won this, and so we can move on from this. Because to JT's point, they've seemingly been wrestling each other once a month and doing nothing else. So let's have Jazz maybe wrestle other people. Let's try that on for size and see what happens there. But yeah, this was real sloppy at points too. This was, but yeah, I mean, 1.5 stars for me. This was kind of nothing.
What if we did Jazz versus Mikey? Do we want to see that?
That could be interesting.
Yeah, why not? It's better than this.
That's a good
All right.
point.
Main event time is Sabu is here to take on C-Dub Anderson. After the break,
What?
Lee is in the ring. Does C-Dub Anderson does a shtick and intros his boys to booze. Sabu sprints to the ring. The New Dangerous Alliance clear out. Sabu follows out, chases them around, settles down for the intros. Joey says losing a guilty as charged may have been the best thing to happen to Sabu as he finally shed Fonzie and stepped out of RVD's shadow and can show that he started ECW and wants it back. We start some chain work, a hard Sabu punch. Sabu hits a swinging DDT, sets up a table bridge. C-Dub knocks Sabu off the apron, follows outside and peppers away, puts Sabu on the table. Sabu's up, crotches Anderson on the top rope, slugs away, follows up to hit a top rope Rana. Anderson goes outside to regroup as Sabu barrels into Wild Bill Wiles and Lou E with a somersault senton. CW comes around the corner, decks Sabu, and drives him back into the ring, stomps away for 2. Lou shoves a table in the ring as Anderson peppers Sabu. Lou trips Sabu on a charge. Anderson nails him with a super kick for 2, puts Sabu on the table and goes up top. Sabu crotches him, follows, but Sabu gets crotched back. CW decks Sabu to the mat and folds half of the table up. CW hooks Sabu, puts him through the table with a spine buster for 2. Wiles loads up another table for Anderson as Sabu kicks Lou off the apron and then crushes Wiles with a chair shot. Sabu hits Anderson with a chair, drills Lou with an Arabian facebuster, sets up a table, puts Lou on it, and heads up top. CW saves his manager, but as he reaches across, Sabu puts him through the table with a leg drop for 2, and then it's a triple jump moonsault and leg drop for the win. C-Dub was feisty in there, but Sabu did his thing and eventually took out the whole Dangerous Alliance, finished the job as he resets his course and career. Some good table bumps and the usual brawling, and the crowd was digging it. I went 2.5, Matt, and there's a historical note to this match we'll get to in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you talk about the grade first.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 on this. I thought this was really fun. I thought CW got a decent amount of shine here against Sabu, which I thought was pretty interesting too. Wonderful Wiles, beautiful Bill, whatever his fucking name is, gets clocked with a chair shot at one point from Sabu, and good God, that poor bastard. Like, he's probably still hearing the fucking ringing in his head from that chair shot. Like, just nasty. Sabu flying around the ring, doing what he does best, and just making everything look like it fucking hurts. So, super fun match here. So, 2 3/4 for me, and I'm just glad that it wasn't fucking Erik Watts in this match.
I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a weird match, but I'm kind of been into C-Dub for a minute, so I was curious what it would be like. And Sabu just don't disappoint. He's just gonna go out there and fucking kick everybody's ass, and that's exactly what he did. C-Dub gets some stuff in, and I thought we were in the middle of a Tommy Dreamer match with all the top rope crotching, at least like 4 times in the match from both of them. So they kind of reused that move too much there. Spine buster through the table was awesome, and CW went face first through the table and still fucking kicked out. So that was kind of a badass moment for him. I did 2 3/4. I ended up really liking this randomly. And I was happy that RVD didn't run in and Mike Awesome didn't run in.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, Jenny, because the historical note is that this is Sabu's final ECW match.
Oh, shit.
Of all time on TV.
What?
He'll be around for a few more weeks.
Mhm.
Have one last match at the end of February before leaving the company. Never to return. He
Wow.
go to the Indies. We don't need to talk too much about his career. We covered him on our last episode when we
Right.
eulogized him after passing away. But I'm sure there was some financial component to it, or just creative issues. Maybe he was tired of dealing with RVD. I don't know. But it's definitely the end of an era. This guy's been around pretty much the entire run of our show, outside of a blip here and there.
So he's not on another pay-per-view, or
He's
he
done.
is?
This is it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
C. Dub Anderson, his final opponent on TV. And I feel like we're just getting finally, Matt mentioned, we're finally getting a new direction
I know.
with him. And our big three-way feud is now down to 2 for now.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, it's gonna kind of a weird loss. Like, it's such a quiet ending for him. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
honestly, as great as that segment was with that double team and fight, if he was gonna leave anyway, I look back and almost wish he just honored his stipulation to leave ECW after guilty as charged. Right?
After the pay-per-view. Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't know he was leaving at that point, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's why I wonder if it was like a real something must have happened, because
yeah, something happened last
for
night.
him to leave after a fucking match with CW Anderson on a random hardcore TV, it's got to be something that, something backstage or something. Like, this couldn't have been something that was planned like weeks, months in advance.
I did-
it
I
looks like
started
yeah.
listening to that History of Hardcore audiobook, so I will have the answers to all these very soon.
I'm sure they'll cover it there. Rocco will probably fill us in too. It looks like he felt like he was being underpaid.
He
The
probably was.
departure coincided with the financial troubles. So, like, it all lines up. And maybe too, like, I don't know, maybe he was, gonna lose again to RVD or Seb or Awesome or whatever. And maybe he was like, all right, I'm not getting paid enough for this. But
Fuck that shit, yeah.
Yeah.
it is really it's weird timing.
Yeah, totally.
It is. Yeah.
Out of nowhere for us. So I don't know if he's on TV again. Like, this is his last televised match. He does have his last actual match is against our old fave Scott Demore, TNN fame.
God.
Yeah, on February 26th. So that must be at a house show. So we'll see if he works again on, or if he appears again on TV besides video packages. But this is it for In Ring. So
Wow. All right.
Historical note there. So Joey's in the nest. He says, "This is the Sabu we all saw when it debuted in 1993. No one wants any part of the Sabu." So it all kind of sucks.
Yeah.
RBD's backstage. We get his usual promo. It's very similar to the TNN one. And then we get the clip of the showdown. So that's it. So we are obviously at this point still hyping this friggin' feud. So to your point, Matt, like, I think, they weren't expecting probably him to bolt.
Right.
So I will give him a match of the night. I thought the match was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Worst match, Jazz and Diamond.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most 2000. Our best moment, I went at Sabu's table leg drop.
Yeah.
I was sick.
Most 2000, Charlie Wilcox. The shitty Saints. Stock Rising. I only went super crazy on this episode. I don't really have anyone else.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could give it to Sabu, but given what happens, I mean,
yeah, I would have, but no, he's going falling. We always do it for a guy on the way out.
Yeah.
I'll give Banderas that. I thought he actually looked okay for being green. Falling, I went Jazz, Wilcox, and Sabu.
Okay.
Yep.
And then final grade, I went 4 out of 10. Kind of a throwaway episode. I mean, we didn't know it's Sabu's last one, so there's not any kind of fanfare. I mean, I guess historical note. But beyond that, not a lot happens on this episode.
Well, I feel like we're all a little depressed now, and I'm gonna add to that with my 4.5 for this episode.
Yeah, I went 4.5 on this. This was not much, pure filler on this.
All right, Peaches isn't walking in that door either. All right, that'll do it for us here tonight. Yes, it is a solemn ending. 2 episodes in a row. We had a about Sabu.
Yeah, really
sucks, but we will push on like we always do in ECW, and another one bites the dust and heads out of town. For once, this guy didn't. He was not someone who was sold out or went to another promotion. He just goes and works the indies. and eventually into TNA, and eventually into WWE, but not directly. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We'll have another 3 episodes of ECW television as we continue to march on toward another Living Dangerously pay-per-view. Until then, stay extreme. Enjoy everything at the North-South Connection. Thanks for watching, listening, commenting, liking, and loving, and we'll talk to you soon.